Good morning, everybody. It is Dr. Steve back with another episode of Core Wellness TV, Three Pillars Edition, not four, three. Brain mapping. We're going to talk about how you can remap your brain, how to remap your neural circuits in your brain so you can create new habits that serve you versus damage you. The movement piece is going to be an example of how you can remap a movement program, because that's all we're really doing in rehabilitation. And here with Core Wellness, we are doing remapping, reprogramming. That's another way of saying remapping. We're going to take some of that cortical real estate up here, and we're going to put some new maps in it, because a lot of us have old maps that no longer serve us. Does that make sense? They're maps that get you lost and turn you, those maps can take you down paths that turn you into degeneration, decay, arthritis, fatigue, sickness, illness, decay, inability to move, inability to play with your grandkids, inability to get up and down off the floor. All of these things are bad maps in your brain that will get you lost. So we want to remap good movement patterns that serve you and nurture you and stimulate your nervous system in a calm and peaceful way. So that's kind of the mindset piece, is understanding that the brain is very plastic. The brain is very changeable. The brain is what they call neuroplastic. It has neuroplasticity. It's changeable. You can reprogram. Now, the longer a pattern has been entrenched, the more you're going to have to work at remapping that, because it's taken over a large part of the real estate of your brain. But nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. You can always remap your brain. You can always rewire your brain. You can release old patterns, rewire new patterns. And going right into that, one of the major dysfunctional programs and maps in your brain for a lot of people is simply walking. Okay? Because I'm here at the park, I watch people walk all day long. Of course, you can just observe people go to the mall, go whatever, you see a lot of people walking. What I see is a lot of people end up pulling themselves along. Now I'm going to show you the difference between this. Let me see if I can get to the edge of the camera. I have a slight forward bend, right? Cross posture, everything's drawing me forward. Stress in my life is drawing me forward. And now, instead of being upright and pushing through with my gait, what am I doing? I'm pulling. Uh-oh, what's that look like pretty soon? I'm pulling myself along with the walker, and pretty soon, I can't even do that. So it's so important to remap the walking pattern. And one of the problems, one of the blockages that a lot of people have that needs to be released is this tightness in the front of the hip. You see that I was kind of forward bent and I was kind of pulling myself. First thing is, we have to get movement into the front of the hip, and that's why I put in the free series the lunge. We call it a push-away lunge. Some people call it a split squat, but we call it a push-away lunge, where we get in perfect posture and we drop into a lunge. We get some movement through the front of the thigh. Make sure you look at that and do that, because it's very important. And that's why one of my daily activities is always this maneuver right here. Just drop in so I can get a stretch down the front of my thigh and the front side of my hip. Why do I do that? So I can be upright when I walk. Very simple concept. What am I doing? I'm remapping how my hip works. I'm remapping that program. And the more you get out and work on that, and the more you exercise that pattern, you start to ingrain and entrench that pattern, right? 21 days to change a habit. Try it for 21 days. Every day you're going to do a set of 10 stretches on the front side. Do the push-away lunge as detailed in the free CPS series. If you don't have that, sign up for it. It should be somewhere on this page. Get that motion. I like to add in to this stretch one side. Of course, if you need balance, put a chair somewhere so you can balance on it. You're going to drop straight down, and you're going to feel the stretch through the front of the hip. And sometimes it helps to lean away from it just a touch. And you also want to make sure that you're not overloading your low back. Always the first rule is to make sure that your ribs are connected in the front and you're not letting your energy spill out the front. Always keep that connection between your ribs and your pelvis, like you've got it all locked together. And down you go. And you're going to breathe. We always make sure we breathe into our flanks, into our back, into our center. Put your thumbs like so, and feel a 360-degree breath. And then, so you go down, you take 2 breaths, come back up. And you don't have to go far, just so you feel the stretch. And after that, then, like I said, you can get into that. And then, if if you bend away from it just a little bit, you'll feel that whole sling of fascia and tissue. Not just a muscle, we're not just stretching muscles here, we're stretching a whole sling of tissue. And then when you add in a little bit of a reach, you really bring in the tightness through the upper body as well. And this is the hidden link for a lot of people. A lot of people have very tight lats and in here to make up for poor core stability. That is, so of course we would do that on the other side. I'm not going to do it prolonged for the sake of the video time, and don't get into too much shoulder shrug here. The reach is the very last thing. Make sure you feel a good stretch without the reach first, and then tilt and feel, and then add in a little bit of a reach. Okay, so that's going to open up the blockage that we have, and then now allow us to do walking. And that's all you're going to do is just practice that, right? What I like to do is actually take a step and come back. Take a step like you're pushing off. Practice just the push off. See how, boom, I'm a pusher instead of a puller. I'm a pusher. You want to remain a pusher. Keep pushing away from your support points, and that's really all it takes. If you imagine you have 3 points on the bottom of your foot, the base of your big toe, the base of your big toe, the base of your little toe, and the base of your heel, you have 3 points of support, and you're going to push away from those 3 points of support like springs. And that will automatically, that intention of pushing away from your support points automatically brings on your core stability system and lowers your center of gravity, and automatically will give you a better gait pattern. You're going to remap gait, right? So that's what you practice. And then when you walk, just practice it. Practice getting through your hips when you walk. That'll be enough for today. The nutrition piece, speaking of brain mapping, in order for your brain to actually lay down new circuits and learn something new, you have got to have dopamine on board in your body. You have to have, in order for you to learn something new. Like with ADHD, one of the things they give is a dopamine neurotransmitter uptake inhibitor, which basically leaves more dopamine so we can focus and we can learn, right? But so in order to learn a new pattern, you have to have some neurotransmitters that allow this stuff to happen, because it all becomes a chemical storm that we have to control and balance for our brain to work correctly. We have to have all these brain neurotransmitters in balance, and this is a large problem, and a big piece of it is nutrition. I did that's kind of a 45-minute talk. I'm going to just post that down below. Instead of me going through it now, I went through neurotransmitter nutrition for dopamine, neurotransmitter nutrition for serotonin, which is the antidepressant neurotransmitter. I talked a little bit about acetylcholine and memory. So that is all below. Please let me know what you think about this, and I always look at all the comments and respond to as many as I can. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this serves you today, and be sure to listen. This is I talk a lot more about the neuroplasticity and the power of changing your brain, and the fact that nothing is impossible. You can do it. You can change your life if you want it to change. If you're willing to change, the tools are here. Okay? Do it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.